The corporate security badge hitting the mahogany desk belonged to a 52-year-old director who just bought his way out of another 18 years of mandatory Monday mornings. The gap between walking away at 52 and being tethered to a corporate laptop until you're 70 years old is exactly 216 months of bridge capital. That's the window you have to solve for if you turn 40 today. According to the Federal Reserve's latest survey of consumer finances, the median 40-something holds just over $113,000 in retirement accounts. And the three moves in this script aren't general frugality tips about brewing your own coffee. They're specifically calibrated to that gap, to that exact window of time, and to the particular way compound growth operates when you still have your highest earning years ahead of you, but the runway is rapidly vanishing. Here's the structural reality traditional wealth managers ignore. Two of these three moves become mathematically useless after you turn 55. Not difficult, mathematically useless. The window is closing, and by the time most professionals realize they missed it, the compounding math has already locked them into a cubicle for another decade. I'm Alexander from Wealth Architecture. Over 12 years analyzing wealth transfers and consulting with private wealth managers, who taught me how capital actually buys freedom, rather than how it gets marketed in glossy mutual fund brochures. I have multiple hundreds of thousands of dollars deployed across these exact vehicles. This isn't whiteboard math. This is live ammunition. And the reason I built any of this isn't because I had a massive inheritance or a lottery ticket. It's because I understood one thing early. The longest delays in your retirement aren't market failures. They're architectural failures. And in your 40s, the architectural failures get very specific and very expensive. Let's examine the architecture we built for a client named Marcus. Marcus is 45 years old. He pulls down $145,000 a year as a regional supply chain logistics manager for a mid-sized distributor. He drives a 4-year-old Audi, lives in a 4-bedroom colonial in a good school district, and has $182,000 sitting in a Vanguard target date fund. By all conventional societal metrics, Marcus is winning the game. But when we ran his numbers through a Monte Carlo simulation targeting an early exit at age 52, the screen threw back a 41% probability of success. Instead of letting that traditional financial advice march him toward a 70th birthday cake in the fluorescent-lit office break room, we immediately used that baseline to engineer his escape. I'm going to show you exactly how we completely rewired his capital structure. I'll leave his final numbers for the end of this breakdown, because they prove a point you need to witness firsthand. Which direction is your clock running? That's the only question that matters now. Every single dollar you deploy in your 40s either buys you a day of freedom or sells a day of your future to someone else. If you search for financial advice targeted at 40-year-olds, you get hit with a barrage of aggressive, demoralizing frugality. Cut the streaming subscriptions, downsize the vehicles, stop eating at steakhouses. That's a loser's game. You absolutely can't shrink your way to wealth when the inflation rate on healthcare, property taxes, and higher education outpaces your annual 3% corporate raise by 300 basis points. You need a wedge. Move number 1 is monetizing your domain knowledge to build a dedicated, isolated capital engine. At 40 years old, you possess at least 15 years of highly specific, specialized industry knowledge. You know exactly where the operational inefficiencies are. You know which vendors consistently overcharge. You know the exact SAP software integration bottlenecks that cost mid-sized manufacturing firms tens of thousands of dollars every single month. You don't need to build a venture-backed startup. You need 2 B2B consulting clients paying you $2,000 a month for 5 hours of your brain power on a Saturday morning. $4,000 extra a month, entirely isolated from your primary household budget. If you take that $4,000, run it through a standard S&P 500 index fund, returning a historical average of 8%, and don't touch it for 12 years, you generate just over $847,000. That isn't your traditional retirement money. That's your bridge capital. That's the exact pile of liquid cash that pays your mortgage and buys your groceries between the day you walk away at 52 and the day you can legally touch your 401k without triggering a 10% penalty at 59 and a half. Most financial mistakes aren't math problems, they're brain problems. The brain problem here is assuming your W-2 salary is the absolute ceiling of your earning capacity. Your salary is just the baseline. The domain knowledge you acquired while earning that salary is the actual appreciating asset. Extract it, package it, sell it back to the free market, and route every single cent of that secondary income into a taxable brokerage account. Don't upgrade your lifestyle. Don't buy a boat. Don't remodel the kitchen. Build the bridge. Because this next section is where most 40-year-olds discover they've been running a financial race without knowing the distance. Move number 2 is aggressive fee optimization and the preparation for the 50-year-old catch-up sprint. The traditional financial services industry relies on you ignoring the mechanics of a 1.2% asset under management fee. They package it as a negligible cost for peace of mind. Let's run the actual, unvarnished math. If you have $300,000 invested at age 40, adding $2,000 a month, earning 8% over 20 years, you end up with over $2.6 million. But if you pay a 1.2% advisory fee, your net return drops to 6.8%. That exact same account, with those exact same contributions, grows to just $2 million. Instead of agonizing over the $600,000 drained by an advisor who simply mirrors a standard 60-40 model portfolio and charges you for the privilege, focus on the massive relief of reclaiming that wealth. By taking one afternoon to route your assets into low-cost ETFs, like those tracking the total stock market with expense ratios of 0.03%, you instantly rescue 5 years of your life. You take direct control, ensuring that $500,000 stays inside your family's trust, rather than funding a wealth management firm's overhead. And then, you prepare for the sprint. The IRS tax code contains a structural loophole designed specifically for late starters, and it triggers the moment you hit a half-century. The year you turn 50, your contribution limits expand dramatically. The catch-up contribution allows you to shove an extra $7,500 into your 401k and an extra $1,000 into your IRA, entirely tax-advantaged. But you can't just wake up on your 50th birthday and magically find $8,500 extra lying around in the couch cushions. You have to architect your cash flow at 45 so that when the clock strikes 50, that capital is automatically redirected into those accounts without requiring a lifestyle downgrade. Knowing a thing and building a structure around it are different operations entirely. You have to build the plumbing before you turn on the water. Now let me talk about the move that actually frees the capital for everything else. Move number 3 is the ruthless debt elimination sequence. I'm not talking about your 30-year fixed mortgage locked in at 3%. Keep that. Let inflation eat that specific debt alive. I'm talking about the $22,000 in revolving credit card balances and the $45,000 auto loan depreciating in your driveway right now. The mathematical reality of consumer debt in your 40s is absolutely brutal. It acts as a negative compound interest engine, dragging you backward faster than your investments can pull you forward. If you hold $20,000 on a credit card at 24% interest, you're bleeding $4,800 a year in pure interest just for the privilege of owing a bank money. You can't outinvest a 24% headwind. Warren Buffett can't outinvest a 24% headwind. You must treat high-interest debt elimination as a guaranteed, risk-free, tax-free return on your investment. Paying off that credit card is mathematically identical to finding a magical asset on Wall Street that pays 24% guaranteed every single year. It doesn't exist anywhere else. But people fail at debt payoff because they rely on willpower. Willpower depletes by 2 in the afternoon after a stressful meeting with your boss. You need a mechanical system. You take the exact day your paycheck hits your checking account, and you set an automated, irrevocable transfer for the very next morning. Before you can look at the balance, before you can rationalize an expensive dinner out, before your spouse can suggest a weekend trip to the mountains, the capital is gone. It's already deployed against the principle of that debt. You strip the human decision-making process out of the equation entirely. You build a relentless machine that starves your liabilities and feeds your equity. Every dollar of monthly debt obligation you eliminate directly reduces your baseline survival requirement. And when your monthly baseline requirement drops, the total amount of bridge capital you need to retire early drops right along with it. The math works in both directions simultaneously. You're either accelerating toward the exit door, or you're chaining yourself heavier to the mahogany desk. Let me resolve the Marcus subplot, because it connects to this directly. Remember that 41% probability of success? The trajectory that had him working until 70 just to keep the lights on? We didn't win the lottery. We didn't find a secret offshore tax haven. We simply executed the architecture. Marcus leveraged his supply chain expertise to consult for a mid-tier regional logistics firm, clearing an extra $3,600 a month on his own terms. He fired his traditional financial advisor, taking direct control of his Vanguard target date fund and saving himself $380,000 in projected wealth-draining fees over the next 2 decades. He automated a debt destruction sequence that wiped out his high-interest credit card debt in 14 months flat. Then, we took all that freed-up cash flow, combined it with his new consulting revenue, and aimed it like a laser beam at his taxable bridge account. Today, Marcus is 47. His Monte Carlo simulation now sits at a titanium-clad 94% probability of success. He's on track to hand in his corporate security badge 3 months after his 52nd birthday. He bought back 18 years of his life using nothing but basic arithmetic and structural discipline. You have the exact same window of opportunity sitting in front of you right now. The math doesn't care about your feelings, your stress levels, or how tired you are. It only cares about your execution. If you want the exact templates, the detailed spreadsheets, and the step-by-step automation rules we use to build these systems for private clients, there's a link in the description for the Wealth Architecture Masterclass. It isn't cheap because it's built exclusively for professionals who value their time and want the structural blueprint handed to them without the guesswork. If you're serious about never seeing the inside of a cubicle in your 60s, go get it. And while you're down there, hit the subscribe button. The YouTube algorithm is a machine that feeds you more of what you consume. If you want your feed to be a daily engine for wealth creation rather than a mindless distraction, signal the algorithm. Build the structure. Stop letting the clock run backward. I'll see you in the next breakdown.